You are listening to Dear Texas Radio, where we encourage Texans to drop everything and read. Your host for today is B. Allen Bourgeois.
And welcome to Dear Texas Radio. This is B. Allen Bourgeois, your host and producer of Dear Texas Radio, where we encourage all of our listeners to drop something and read. However, we always ask that you do not break it. We don't want you to drop something and break it. That would be no fun. But we do want you to find a great book to read, and we represent Texas authors, and we do have a lot of great books on our selection for you to read. We will be talking shortly with Calvin Fields, who has a very interesting book, but we'll go into more details about that in a little bit. In the meantime, I'd like to tell you some things that are coming up. We have our McKinney Book Festival scheduled for June 3rd, and then in 2018 it will be in September. We also have our Wimberley Book Festival scheduled for June 10th this year. It's our second one, so we hope you'll come out to beautiful Wimberley and the Hill Country and enjoy meeting a lot of authors there. And then, of course, we have our September events, which will be the Brazos Valley Book Festival. And that should be a fun event as well. And then we have our Lone Star Book Festival, which is our biggest event, which is October 7th and 8th in Dallas at the Main Street Gardens Park. It is a full two-day event. We are anticipating close to 100 authors attending, and they will be having a wide range of books and styles and a whole bunch of different things going on. It's also a fundraiser for the Texas Authors Institute of History Museum, which is scheduled to happen on October 6th as a reception. All that information can be found at LoneStarBookFestival.com, LoneStarBookFest.com. And we also have other events going on as well. And all of this can be found at txauthors.com. And our newest program that we're getting ready to launch is called the Authors Marketing Certification. This is a part of the Authors Marketing event where authors can learn how to better market and sell themselves. And we do this in a weekend event where authors will be able to learn from the professionals in the industry as well as people with practical knowledge and use of the program. And we do encourage you to join us. That is July 28th through the 30th in Houston, Texas. And you can find out the list of speakers, what the subject matters are going to be, and how to get your Authors Marketing Certification, AMC, as part of the new program. That information is at our website, authors.marketing. That's it. No .com, org, or anything like that. It's just authors.marketing. And we do hope you will enjoy that event and, like I said, all the other events that we have throughout the calendar year. We are in our stages of our membership drive, our spring membership drive, which ends on April 30th. So for you Texas authors listening in who are not members, you should join us. It's a great organization where we do a lot of things to help market and sell Texas authors and their books. And we help you learn how to best do that in the least economical avenue you can find. And you can learn, again, about all that at txauthors.com, and we hope you will join us. In the meantime, we seem to be having a technical issue with our caller calling in, so we will step away for just a brief moment.
In their 2017 award-winning techno-thriller series, Brakefield and Berkey take you on an engaging journey as cyber good guys duel against cyber assassins using technology, today's weapon of choice. Whether your cyber threat is fighting for your lost identity, struggling with a mutant computer virus, or being outmaneuvered by a digitally enhanced gaming avatar, you will enjoy this book series individually and collectively. EnigmaSeries.com will take you through a doorway into the digital combat of the 21st century.
And welcome back. We do have our author on the line, and so welcome, Calvin. How are you?
Oh, doing just fine, thank you.
Good. You have a very interesting background and a very interesting book that we're going to be talking about. But let's start with your background. You are a professor with Ph.D. in organizational behavior. What exactly does that mean?
I was a professor of organizational behavior, and organizational behavior is a psychological discipline that comes out of the business school and the School of Management in today's universities. And OB, as we call it, is the study of people's productivity, efficiency, and satisfaction in organizations. So that background really helped me get a handle on the current book that I published recently.
Okay. And the background in organization can range from the top 10 business organizations all the way down to nonprofits. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. The principles are very similar of profit versus nonprofit, and even small business as well. So a lot of people, consultants, want to say that it's only for big business, and that's where it's primarily focused, but the translation back to nonprofit organizations as well as small companies is quite easy.
Okay. And as you just mentioned, that gave you really good insight on your book, which is The Hypnotic Communist.
Yes.
It's a very interesting name because from what I've read of it, it doesn't really apply to communism in the normal text that we all understand. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the way it seems to have turned out, and certainly that was a reason why I felt the need to write the book, was because it's a common misunderstanding in today's public as well as the mainstream press about the true nature of communism and its true intent and threat to the safety and security of America. So I really thought I was making a good contribution by taking the time out and the effort to do this.
Okay. So you mentioned right off the bat that, this is a deadly enemy that operates in plain view and few recognize it. So please explain that. Well, the first thing it does to cover itself up and make it as invisible is to mislabel it as liberal. You've heard the term, we all hear the term every day in the press. They're not liberal at all. Liberalism is politics. Liberalism is government. Call now charitable contributions. But liberalism has changed its meaning by the dialectical language and linguistic abuse of the Communist Party. And so the message in the book is that we should first of all, to combat communism, and we assume that if people knew what communism really was, hardly anybody would accept it at any level, is that we need to start calling it by its real name. Instead of being liberal, it's communism, and communism is really a very evil thing if you know what it really means. And we need to take the masks off, the numerous masks that it tries to hide behind, and call it what it is, and that way we can deal with it more directly for what the true nature of it is. In some respects, and relating to the current political situation, I'm almost tempted to say that what you just said is that in some respects, the Democratic Party, which was considered as liberal, has been taken over by the communist concept. Is that accurate?
That's accurate. It's not only the communist concept, which is true, but literally everything that the Communist Party stands for, including its objectives, its operational procedures, and its the outcomes that it demands at any cost.
That's an interesting concept simply because of what's going on with Putin, who is a diehard communist, and yet he helped Trump to win the election, and yet his concept of communism is in the Democratic Party. It's all confusing.
That's because of the disinformation that the press regularly feeds out to the American public, and a great significant amount of the information that comes from our own domestic press is really disinformation that comes from the disinformation factory under Vladimir Putin in Russia. So that when you realize that Putin did not help the current president win election, as a matter of fact, if you really want to know the truth, Putin was running the U.S. government during the Obama administration. Obama is the true communist agent. There's a thing called psychological projection where people don't really want you to know what they're thinking and doing. And what they do as a strategy to project blame onto innocent people. And so Obama knows that he's working for Putin and the Worldwide Communist Party, and so does all his people that worked under him. It was the Obama regime that's actually the communist agency that Putin was working for. They don't have control of the federal government as much as they used to.
And we're going to stop right there, let the sponsors do their thing, and we'll be right back.
Dear Texas would like to thank our sponsors. McKinney, Texas has a rich history, one it embraces and loves to share with visitors. Nowhere is this more evident than McKinney's historic downtown with more than 100 eclectic shops and eateries to explore. Situated just 30 miles north of Dallas, McKinney offers the perfect getaway from the urban hustle. For more about McKinney, check out www.visitmckinney.com or call 888-649-8499. The third annual short story contest begins March 1st and runs through July 31st. Enter your short story for a chance at prizes and getting published. To learn more about this annual event, please visit our website at txshorts.com. Dear Texas would like to invite you to the McKinney Square Book Festival on June 3rd, 2017. The event will be held at the Performing Arts Center from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Meet 40-plus Texas authors, many of whom have won awards. Special events will take place during the day, and a special musical guest, Billy Dawson, will perform at 2 p.m. For more information, please visit our website, mckinney.deartexas.info. Wimberley Valley Tourism welcomes people to explore the many fine shops, restaurants, and wineries that make Wimberley special. More at wvtla.com. From concept to casting, recording to post-production, Spoke Media is dedicated to creating a superlative listener experience. www.spokemedia.io. EBG 247, where you can find ebooks galore 24 hours, 7 days a week at ebg247.com.
So one would also say, as far as the communist aspect goes, wouldn't China be the one that was more in control than Russia?
I'm
because
sorry,
of the economic. Would it be more accurate to say that China is in more control as a communist nation than Putin is, only because of the amount of money that they have invested in the United States and that we owe them?
Well, that's true from a certain level or a certain perspective, but the World Communist Party was created by Vladimir Lenin. By the way, Lenin is not his real name. Whenever a person becomes a communist, they have to change their name. Say, oh, you're trying to jump. And Vladimir Lenin's last name is Romanov, as a matter of fact. And since the World Communist Party's inception was created by Lenin, who was the first one to apply the theory of Marxism, which we now call communism, from Karl Marx, that Russia, or what I say is really the Soviet Union, is really the central, I should say, CEO headquarters of the Communist World Party, and Red China is sort of a second brother to that. Now, with the issue about the economic involvement of America with Red China is run by a hardcore communist regime, just as hardened as the one in the mother country, Russia. However, what they're doing is trying to fool the West into by using their own weapons against us. Similar to what the 9/11 debacle occurred when they used their own planes against us. They always turn our own weapons against us, our own money against us, everything ours they turn against us. And so China is deceiving the West by pretending to be a market, a capitalist country now. And when the time comes, the plan is for Russia and Red China and their satellites to surround America and hold us hostage and force us to surrender. So no, China is very much as Russia a threat to America's freedom and liberty as ever.
Okay. So I've got to ask, what proof do you have that backs all of this up? Is it in the book? And if so, is there additional information that people can learn about and to discover this themselves?
Well, I mean, anyone could do what I've done, I think, is I started in 1992 when I saw Jennifer Flowers come on the scene and tell her tales. It was at that time I began researching this, and anyone can research the topic, going to the library, listening to the press, reading, keeping up with conservative and liberal communist groups. Yeah, there are other sources. Some of them have any record of what the moment. You want to verify that, especially if I want to verify that. But as I talked about in the book,
though, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, sure. China would be playing the possum strategy, and they're playing possum. They're pretending to be our traders. But as I used to say when I was teaching business, specifically the international business course, why would a country that works through business contracts work with a hardcore communist country like Red China? Why would they allow China to become a full member of the World Trade Organization when a big part of communism is to always break capital contracts? They don't believe in capitalism. Matter of fact, they hate it. And there's no way they're going to ever keep contracts and contract law in business. So, for example, why would you farm out some of your sensors for the F-22 fighter to Red China to make? When indeed, if we got into a fighting war with Red China, what would be the first fatality? Well, it would be the F-22 because they would quit forwarding the parts to us for replacement parts. And the same reasoning goes for everything. They're currently buying up real estate as fast as they can in this country. What they want to do is try to avoid war by buying our country from us. And if the federal debt ever explodes and we are forced to repay our debtors, we owe China a huge amount of money, as well as other communist countries. That could be a real pretext for their final solution. You know what the final solution is, I hope.
Please tell our listeners so that they're fully aware.
Yeah, that would be World War III.
That's necessarily the old-fashioned go to war like World War I or II. I mean, this is a lot more creative, is it not?
Yeah, creative is a real nice word to use, Alan. It would be probably a lot faster and a lot shorter, given that nuclear weapons would probably come out pretty fast. And really, more important than the nuclear weapons would be any way to deter a nuclear weapon from hitting the country, which we do have, and I don't think that our adversaries do. So we really have to keep up with the investment into defense. And any, of course, see, that leads to another issue, is that we have these covert agents in the federal government and the House of Representatives, the Senate. We used to have them in the State Department. I'm not sure how that's going these days, but they try to vote down and prevent and keep legislation from being passed that we need to have passed. You can see that playing out right now with the Democratic Party's throwing a temper tantrum every day about how they're going to resist our American president's legislative efforts to protect America. They're trying to keep our country weak, and it's getting more difficult for them to do so, the present circumstances.
Okay. So I tend to agree with you about the Chinese aspect of owning us with, having that World War III aspect with a simple signing of a piece of paper saying all the land that they now own in USA is now theirs. That would not surprise me in the least. But what was the reason for you actually creating and writing this book?
Well, the reason, like I said, went back to Jennifer Flowers in 1992. I was just casually watching TV, and all of a sudden, this woman named Jennifer Flowers came on TV and started talking about Bill Clinton, and I've never heard of Bill Clinton before. And I mean, I have an open mind. I thought, well, maybe he would be a good president, But when I started hearing about what she had to say about their affairs, I thought, that's it. I lived through the 50s and the 60s and I remember what happened. I remember being told to hide under our desk if we had a nuclear war and being afraid all the time of a nuclear attack at any moment. And then the 60s with the cultural changes that we had with the drug influx and all the changes that happened that just doesn't seem like American. But I thought, if it was over, why is it still the same way? We seem to never recover from that. I knew Bill Clinton was a baby boomer. I'm a baby boomer. But he seems to have been transported from the 1960s eventually straight into the executive office. And I thought, what's this all about? So having children and wanting the best for them in the future, I thought, well, one thing I can do for humanity, for our country, is to delve into this. I'm going to start my own research program on the side and get to the bottom of this and just follow the research wherever it leads. I'm going to find out what's happened and why it still remains unresolved, why the war on poverty was never won, why the war on drugs was never won, while this stuff still persists. And I just followed the information, and it quickly led me to the Communist Party, and the rest of my research years was really digging deeper into that to find out from their own words.
We have just a few minutes left. Where can people purchase your book?
Well, I had a website, but I'm having it reworked. It will be at thehypnoticcommunist.com, and that has dashes in between. You can get it at Amazon or Create Space, and I suppose maybe you can get it through the Texas Authors Association.
Correct, through their store at books.txauthors.com. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, do you have a Facebook or a Twitter account that they can follow?
Yes, both. I have Facebook and Twitter.
And what would be the Facebook address?
Oh, I don't really know right offhand.
Is it under your name?
Yeah, it's under W. Calvin Fields or Calvin Fields, yes.
Okay. Is the third in there, or is it just W. Calvin Fields?
I think it's probably Calvin Field.
Fields, okay. And your Twitter ID, any idea what that would be?
Cfields3.
Okay, good. So people can follow you and learn more.
Yes, I have a blog 2 times a week, every Monday and Friday. I write a blog, distribute it through webpage. Like I said, that should be
All right, well, we are just about out of time. Third, who has a Ph.D. in economics, or specifically business operations and the psychology of it all, it seems. He has written The Hypnotic Communist. The Fantastic Seduction of America is the subtitle. We encourage everybody to check it out. You can find it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, CreateSpace, and, of course, books.txauthors.com. I want to thank you very much, Calvin, for joining us, and we wish you the best of luck.
Well, thanks, Alan. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Dear Texas would like to thank our sponsors. I'm Alex Anthony, your announcer. For all inquiries regarding voiceover, narration, and announcing services as heard on this program, please make contact through voxluxstudio@gmail.com, voxluxstudio@gmail, or you can call 512-537-6077. Thank you for listening and for your support. Bourgeois Media and Consulting, a book publishing consultant where creative inspiration is realized. More at bourgeoismedia.com. Thank you for listening to Dear Texas Radio. To learn more about Dear Texas and its literacy programs, please visit their website at deartexas.info. I am Alex Anthony, your announcer. Have a great day.